has changed.
It sure has. With the game being old enough to enlist, Metal Gear Solid 4 has finally came back from the dead from PlayStation 3 hardware, with the new re-release of it being released on Steam, Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo Switch, and most importantly PC. If I hadn't said so already, this game is going to be beautiful, part of the Metal Gear Solid collection. This is going to be a phenomenal take, and I asked myself the question, is it possible to beat Metal Gear Solid 4 with only cutscene weapons?
Because she's a woman, just because she's Brad.
Age hasn't slowed you down one bit.
Kept you waiting, huh?
Rules, super simple. You see this super awesome high-tech railgun? I can only use that in a specific cutscene. You see this nice cool little dagger? I can only stab and proceed to annihilate and eviscerate these enemies. And yes, I'm aware that Kojima wanted to make movies and he puts multiple cutscenes into the same mission, but we will also be including those as well. So for example, if Snake in the beginning of the mission has a knife, pulls out a pistol, we'll be counting that as well. Meaning, if Snake in the beginning of the mission has a rifle, but later on switches to a pistol, we'll be only using the pistol, which does suck and it does hinder us a lot. So, which, hey, I'm having a lot of fun. There is 3 missions specifically we will struggle with, but that's later into the video. For now, let's get right into it. After booting up the game, we get introduced and bombarded with ads. Believe me, if I wanted to watch ads, I'd go on YouTube TV and get fucking blasted by these motherfuckers, alright? Which, hey, we also get to see a sneak peek of David Hayter and a eye patch, which is pretty cool little detail. But primarily, this whole little bit is just infotainment, which just Reddit post states clearly that the fact that the TV adverts help drive home the stuff Snake says about war becoming routine, which, hey man, look at today's society. Just like in real life, we hop back into the sand pits, and for this time, we are going against these frogs, which is horrifying. But we get introduced to Snake's new suit, which is the super sneaky Octo suit, which is basically you become invisible. But first mission, right off the rip, we are introduced to our knife. This is our only companion until we pick up a rifle in next cutscene. So, like I said, it's going to be a tough little ride. Moving forward into the same mission, we only get access to our weapon of choice. And then moving forward, we get introduced to the operator, the tranquilizer. But since Snake wants to pick up the operator, that's our weapon of choice for this run. Now, he can also pick up the operator and the knife in certain cutscenes, but primarily we'll be picking this item for a lot through this game. And I gotta say, if you're not good with the pistol, man, believe me, it has a little packing power, but other than that, it does not do enough to take out some major bosses. Now, we do get to a cutscene where Snake meets both Otacon and the Colonel, which is really cool to see after all this time for him. Moving forward into the level, we meet our most important character of the game, which is Drebin, aka Cyborg. And Drebin will be absolutely crucial for one, getting us ammo for our guns, which, my goodness, we will be wasting a lot of ammo. And most importantly, getting modifications and suppressors, since those are allowed. And right off the rip, we fall into a little enemy encounter. Now, this section of the game is a bit tricky since you are only left with the pistol that you came in with. And my goodness, it just sucks. It does not have a lot of power, which, once again, plus it doesn't have a lot of ammo. I understand it's an 8-shot, but man, it takes 2 to 3 headshots for the gun to actually kill one of these enemies. Since pretty much I'm just hitting you with a Nerf dart, a beanbag, then an actual bullet, rather than just 2 straight-on bullets, and it just sucks. After Ocelot gives us a brain aneurysm for liking feet, we make it to the jungle where there is no fun and games and proceed through. And look at this little guy. To the second mission, in which we have nothing. That means this is going to be a tough and tricky run. We have to maneuver, finagle. You just run through the entire course, try to army crawl, and barely skim by some of these enemies because some of their hitboxes and some of their awareness skills either elite or absolute dog shit. Make our way to find Naomi in the compound, and I can see why Hideo Kojima wanted to make movies. But we run into the Octopus, one of the 4 major bosses of Metal Gear Solid 4, and I gotta say, despise the weapon of choice they gave me in this. They gave us the Operator. The Operator does this much damage. You see how much damage went away? Exactly. Not to mention, she can just deflect the bullets and not get hit by them at all because of the smoke screen, because of the little mines she puts down, because she's invisible. It's all these little things. I've wasted 1,000 rounds and died 3 to 4 times beating this boss before I actually completed it. I came close to beating it twice, but every time she's in that ball mode, I get hit this half my damage and I die. Absolutely the worst boss, but man, beating her had me feeling like the Eagles this year, man. I felt fucking fantastic, alright? But once we're done beating the Octopus, we move on to find Naomi. Naomi's been captured by Vlad, the vampire, gets taken away in a helicopter. Now we have to escape the compound with her inside of it, and this is where the run ends. Yes, right here specifically, due to the fact that Snake is not holding any weapons whatsoever, not even a knife, we proceed to have to take down 2 of these mecha dudes, but since 1, we can't get off the tank or truck to fight the enemies, and 2, we can't use any of the weapons on top of the enemies since we never saw Snake use them. Now, you can say we can use the M4 because we did see him in the cutscene, but I tried that. Even still, you would still have to fight the geckos later in this level in a tank as well. So there is no workaround regarding this level. I'm sorry, the can you beat Metal Gear Solid with only cutscene weapons is a no-go. But if you don't want to be a pansy little bitch, we can proceed forward. Getting inside a machine gun, we take down these beautiful geckos and this tank right here, meet up, and after getting saved by the most hated to beloved character of all of gaming, Raiden shows up, shows him, hey man, this cyborg shit's pretty cool. Which is kind of a tragedy in its own way since we never actually got to see the process for Raiden becoming a cyborg. The original game script for it was called Metal Gear Rising, not Metal Gear Rising Revengeance, and the mission would primarily focus on you going to Area 51, controlled by a wealthy American financer, get captured, get your jaw basically broken, your body and mind becoming dismembered, and you're being controlled by these wealthy people, these powerful villains of the story, and then you have like this weird hallucination of you fighting Big Boss, which is aka the old Snake in this game. It's really cool. I wish that game was actually made, since the entire story was just pretty much set in stone. Just the main problem was the Zandetsu concept of, like, you know how in Metal Gear Rising you get to slash everything? It was that, but they couldn't fully implement it. You know, delayed everything and made it into Metal Gear Rising Revengeance by Platinum Games. After Vamp's freaky ass decides to stab Raiden and then proceed to taste some of his blood, we set him free by shooting a sniper rifle at him, freeing his arms. And I gotta say, this is one of the best choreographed scenes in Metal Gear. The swordplay, phenomenal. The movement, phenomenal. I gotta ask, how long did it take for the motion capture people to implement this? Because my goodness, it is beautiful. It is stunning. One of the best things I've seen out the entire Metal Gear saga. And to be 1,000,000% clear, Raiden would have won this 100%. It's just that Vamp's fucking immortal, so it just sucks. But once Raiden is done defeating Vamp, he proceeds to escape the geckos and the forces of Ocelot and hop in a helicopter. Now he is badly bleeding out, but we must proceed through the next mission. With the borders being more secure than Singapore, we meet up with Meryl with a new disguise, the Octomask we obtained from the Octopus. It's really cool to see a nice young Snake, what he would look like in-game, but then he gets hit with menopause. But our next mission is to follow this dude. Now, mind you, we have no weapons, nothing. We only have our bare fists and CQC. So, following this guy and making sure he gets safe to the next objective point and then following behind him to get to the next checkpoint is the key to making this level successful. Now, we did get past it, but man, it was a struggle. I activated and triggered the guards multiple times. I'm just lucky enough that I didn't fail the mission. I had to do it all over again or restart at a checkpoint. But man, it came really close, and I was downright annoyed by the fact that I had no weapons, man. I wish Snake had like either his operator or like the tranquilizer at least. But we got through the level, meeting up with Solid Snake's mom, which is Big Mama. I gotta say, she aged like fine wine. As she is talking to Solid Snake, we proceed to learn more about the backstory, how they were conceived, what made them this way, and most importantly, meeting Solid Snake's body, which I don't know how this motherfucker is alive. My goodness, man. At that point, just put him out of his misery. Moving forward, we move on to our next mission, which is another run and gun, but at the same time, we have an actual decent weapon, which is the VZ.83. It does have a lot of kickback, not to mention I am playing on controller, but man, I gotta say it was a lot of fun and a lot more easier than the operator. But our next boss fight is the Raging Vulture. Now, we have the M4, which, my goodness, I am so happy to have an actual firearm, not a sidearm. But man, this boss fight was surprisingly super easy. I will say out of all three of them, it is the easiest one. Oh, sorry, four of them, they're the easiest one. After we defeat the Raging Vulture, we get introduced to that other lady, which apparently she got attacked by vultures and has jiggle physics, which, my goodness, Kojima, calm down. But from here, we take down the Raging Lady with the operator, and just like that, we move on to the next mission, which is the mission brief, where we get the iconic line.
I have no future.
Which one is very sad to see Snake like this, but Snake is also dying from the Fox Die virus. Both of them have like different compelling arguments. It's very heartwarming for him to say, hey man, don't give up on your shit. You have a lot to live for. Don't give up on it. You have so many things. Meanwhile, I'm fucking dying, dude. I don't know how long I got. I got like a few hours for a few days. Who fucking knows, man? I'm just barely getting by. I want you to, live your life. Power of youth by your side and that type of shit. Speaking of which, we hop back into 1998, the return of Shadow Moses, as Snake is reminiscing about old times and defeating Metal Gear Rex. Moving through this frozen hellscape, we find ourselves fighting against the Crying Wolf. It's a long-range sniper battle. We have the M4. This is going to be a horrible matchup. Surprisingly, it's not. Yeah, honestly, with me with the suppressor on, this battle wasn't that difficult. The only thing that did give us a headache was the multiple enemies that do run around the map. But primarily, that's just a easy, 1, 2, 3 bullets to the head. You're good to go. And then you got to track down the wolf, and boom, just like that, you defeat her. Moving through the facility, we encounter Vlad getting fondled and touched all over by this creepy lady. But this time, we actually get to fight Vlad. Now, this is a difficult situation only because we have the operator. Yes, I know it's a pistol. Don't bitch and complain about it. But man, you try stopping someone from breaking into your house with a pea shooter. All right, let's be real. And once we do defeat Vlad, we have to inject him with the syringe. The syringe allows us to fully defeat him, deactivating all of his nanobots. And just like that, Raiden comes in, helps us out. Now, our weapon of choice for this one is the railgun, which is super helpful against these geckos because, believe me, we desperately needed a stopping power for one of these things. But we prevent them from blowing up Otacon and Raiden and Old Snake. I will say rewatching this and replaying this has me so stoked because I wanted to get as much continuation footage of Raiden kicking Vlad's ass as I could because I didn't want to pause for healing, which I did. I didn't have to pause for getting items, which I did as well to get more railgun ammo. And also, forgive my aim, it was just pretty bad this one. I didn't know what I was aiming for. I forgot the blinking red ones that you're supposed to shoot immediately. And the charging took a lot longer than I expected. I forgot it was in the bottom right corner of my screen. But seeing the handwork, seeing the footwork, seeing the choreography, beautiful, astounding, major shout outs to the choreography, the motion capture people, beautiful work. And as soon as we finish defeating Vlad, we hop into Metal Gear Rex, defeat Metal Gear Ray, escape the facility with Raiden, and proceed to capture and catch up with Ocelot. Before we can, he just runs away and maniacally laughs at us like dumbass. Limping along like a rhino with no play, our only way to stop Ocelot and the GW is to hop on the boat and take it down ourselves. We hop in, and my goodness, this facility took me about 2 hours to complete because there's so many enemies and you can't take any of these people down without extreme amounts of firepower. Now, we do get the M4, but man, these geckos were annoying. Getting past the security guards were super annoying because they always pair up. They're always moving about. Super difficult, but I did finesse it a little bit to get there by myself. No alerting, no anyone. And we run into old enemies, meeting up with Psycho Mantis after all this time is somehow still alive, possessing and taking over the bodies of the Screaming Mantis. Now, I gotta replay the original Metal Gear Solid game one more time because I truly want to experience me taking my controller from the one import to the second import, but they also do it in here. So they would randomly call you repeatedly saying, have you thought about switching your ports?
Snake, this is Mantis we're talking about.
The fight on Shadow Moses?
That's right. Back then, we defeated him by using multiple controller ports to counteract his mind-reading powers. Snake, try using the same tactic again.
Otacon, what's going on? I can't move.
You can't move? What the heck did you... Oh, Snake. Did you set the controller number to something other than 1? Let me guess. You thought back to your battle with Psycho...
And it's stuff like this what makes me really love Hideo Kojima's work. It's also what makes me really love the Metal Gear Solid series. It's nice little callbacks. It's nice little information they give you. It's nice little lore bits and like, hey, remember this? All right, cool. Here's like a little bit more information. Now you remember this. Boom, it's all in your face now. Now, this is where we fall into our second fail of the run. The issue is, when fighting Psycho Mantis, they drop a doll. The doll allows us to do damage to Psycho Mantis. You also have to do motion controls, but there's a way to finesse it and just take out the entire health bar in like a single go, which is super cool, but also super weird. I don't know how that works. I have a wired controller. I'm not going to get into that all that much. But the thing is that you can't do physical damage unless you have that. But that is our second fail in the run. But aside from that, we do have 2 major missions before we can complete the game. After defeating Screaming Mantis, and I thought this was Gina Carano from Deadpool. Also, major shoutouts to the models and the motion capture people for the Crying Wolf, Angry Vulture, the Screaming Mantis, and most importantly, the Octopus. After the lady is turned into Blue Mist, we encounter Psycho Mantis, the OG from Metal Gear Solid 1, and it's all astral beauty. It's a nice little callback, but I don't want to ruin it. I'm going to let him do all the talking.
Psycho Mantis.
You don't seem to believe your own eyes. Very well. I will show you the power of the world's greatest mind reader and psychokinesis. I'll start by reading your personality. Rather, your past. That's right. This is no trick. It's true power. What? Where is your data? Where is it saved? There's no memory card. Damn, your skills have improved. Or rather, your hardware. Huh? How about this, then? Witness my psychokinesis. Put your controller on the floor. Put it down as flat as you can. That's good. Now, I will move your controller by the power of my will alone. Vibration is back!
And so long, Psycho Mantis. Proceeding through, we have to get to the GW service in the beautiful microwave section of the game. We also get an encounter with Raiden, and hearing him say his most iconic line, which is by far one of my favorites from him, in the Metal Gear series saga.
I am lightning. The rain transformed.
Imagine how horrifying that is. Imagine you're just like some random soldier with like some high-tech gear and stuff. It's like, okay, cool. We can take this cyborg dude. He has no arms. He has a sword in his mouth and is producing electricity. And oh, we're dead. As Snake is trying to find the reserves of his strength to go through the microwave part of the game. And I gotta say, this part is very devastating. It's a lot of, damn, are they going to make it? Is Raiden going to, survive? Is Snake going to get there on time? Are they overwhelmed? Are they going to have enough resources? And as you can see, just one by one, all of them are just failing at their task and relying on Snake to get there to complete the mission. And he does do so, but wakes up.
Rise and shine, Snake. Look, the war is over.
Why? You could have stopped us.
Stopped you.
Liquid, confirmed to be Ocelot, is just wailing, beating on Solid Snake, just repeatedly, just two old men going at it, using as much Elastitor or nanobots that they do have to just have a final showdown, see who was better and who has officially won. And I don't think I need to explain it, but this is the final mission of the game. We are down to just our two mitts, our lefty righty going at it against Liquid Ocelot, or just Ocelot for short, just going at it, hand-to-hand combat, doing a lot of counters, doing a lot of grappling, doing a lot of jab throwing. Now you can heal, but that's like sparingly. But overall, this boss fight and its entire experience has been phenomenal. Yes, we did fail twice, but hey, overall it's been a fun challenge, it's been a fun run. Thank you so much for watching. I do wish we had that machine gun during that cutscene, but against Screaming Mantis, I don't think there's a chance that we could. But hey, it would have been one fail. Regardless, I had a lot of fun. Thank you so much for sticking around watching this entire video in its entirety. But if you only skip to the good parts and like my little nerd talks, thank you so much. Once again, worked a lot on this video. I did like the intro, got some help from my brothers. They did a lot to help me out with this. So thanks to them, shout outs to them. But yeah, have a good one. Stay safe out there. Cheers, drink your water, God bless, and most importantly, smoke crack.
You're pretty good.
You're pretty good. Pretty good.